Okay, we're live. Hey, Nolavani. I downgraded the stream quality. So hopefully there aren't any interruptions this time. I figured, there's always like some hiccups. So I figured it would be worth just downgrading the quality even more. I mean, it'll look a little fuzzier, but at least it won't, hopefully, lag. But we'll find out, won't we? How's everything going? Let me check out this place. Yeah, hopefully. We'll find out. Yeah, I would like to just do a stream where there's no lag at all. Alright, there's nothing to do here. Let's go. I'm assuming there's going to be a new car guy nearby to get our car. Where do we go to get our car? Oh yeah, much nicer. And I just noticed, like, the low detail of the non-interactable buildings. I mean, it makes sense, obviously. Reminds me of GTA 3 because there's so many like shops and things that you can't interact with. So they just use like low detail on all these things because they know no one's going to be looking at them. Oh, here it is. This is a good mechanic. How they just give you like a whole selection of vehicles from a parking garage that you can get at any time. It's near your hideout. Let's do this.
What is it this time?
Let's go.
Didn't I beat this guy up before? It looks familiar. Jeez.
What the hell was that?
Yeah, shoplifter Yig was cheating at the cards last night. Thought I'd teach him a lesson.
Some fucking lesson.
Bet he doesn't cheat again.
What the fuck? He just slaughtered a whole bunch of innocent people. What the fuck? This is the worst cop ever.
Did you lose him?
You gonna pull this shit, you gotta learn to drive.
Get behind us. Come on, Ray. I thought he was a good driver.
Jeez. He goes in there and just randomly shoots and kills people. Like, going undercover when you're dealing with people who just like randomly shoot people, probably not a good idea. You'd be exposed so quickly. You would have to do it like the Attack on Titan way. You ever watch Attack on Titan, Ilavani? I don't know if you haven't seen, I don't know if you're ever planning on seeing it, because I would have to give away kind of a spoiler to explain the reference. Well, I'll just kind of give like a vague illusion. There's this character who is like a spy kind of character. He's a mole, and he had to be planted inside of, you know, the enemies. But in order to be convincing, he had to fully embrace all the bad things they were doing, which included torturing and killing people. Never arouse suspicion. And he did all of that. He would torture people, kill people. He carried this charade for years, many years. So he was a very effective spy, was able to convince his comrades that he was on the level until the time was right to strike. Yeah. It's a good anime, regardless. I didn't spoil anything, really. Because even if you watch it, you won't really understand who I'm talking about. Because you don't even know about this character until much, much later, anyway.
I think you lost him. Hey, you can just let me off anyway.
Killed so many people. Nice. Okay. I keep forgetting I can just click in the left analog stick to get my objective. Oh, I didn't answer your question. You asked me how I'm doing. I am doing well. I'm really happy with how my sculpture turned out because I thought it was going to turn out a lot worse. I mean, looking at it again, I can definitely see places that could be improved, obviously. The base sculpture, obviously, like, the proportions weren't correct. I don't know if you ever worked with clay before, but it is not like painting. See, the thing with clay is that it obeys the laws of physics, specifically gravity. If you try to make it too big, clay is heavy. And how heavy it gets really heavy really quick. Like, it might surprise you how quickly it becomes heavy. And if it's too big, it collapses under its own weight. So if you're trying to make it stand up on two legs and it's too top heavy, it's not gonna work. The whole thing's gonna fall apart. So I did what I could at the time. Like, I didn't know how you were supposed to do it. Do you know how you're supposed to sculpt big things out of clay? Do you know the secret trick to how you're supposed to do big things? Because like in a painting, you could just paint it. It doesn't need to obey the laws of physics. But a clay sculpture has mass, you know? And we have gravity. Like, when I was sculpting it, I was even like, geez, I really wish I was in like a space station or something while I'm sculpting this, because then I don't have to worry about it falling apart under its own weight. Know nothing about sculpting? So, here's the thing. The inside, the core material of the sculpture is actually supposed to be made out of something else. And generally, you want it to have an internal skeleton. They call that an armature. So that's how you're supposed to do something that's kind of big. So I didn't know that when I first sculpted. You can make the armature out of wire. It's tricky though, you know, like making the skeleton. I'm guessing, I've never learned this, no one's ever said this, but I'm assuming that making the internal armature out of aluminum foil might be a good idea. So that's actually what I'm gonna try next. I'm gonna just kind of like take some aluminum foil and like crumple it up into like approximately the right shape, and then just add clay on top of that. And that'll give it like a good foundation. It'll give it internal strength. Because that's what you really need. You need internal strength, and you need to make it lighter. And aluminum foil is nice and light and strong. And it's malleable. Malleability is the key, Nelavani. Thank you. Yeah. Like when I was painting it, I just gave it a base coat of brown, and then I added stuff on top of it.
Winston 咧就嚟同 Peggy 結婚噶啦。
Yeah, he mentioned it the other day. Congratulations.
梗係啦，呢到時間啦，阿 Peggy 咧就係想準備啲婚禮，咁佢又唔叫 Winston，我會揾人車佢。咁你唔介意啦嘛嚇
？No problem at all, Mrs. Chu.
好，咁就好啦。走啦，唔該晒啊。
Mm-hmm. Yep. You learn more too.
Hello, Wei. Thanks for driving me around.
Yeah, no problem. So, where are we going?
The flower shop. I still have to pick the color I want. You won't believe how much work it is to get ready for a wedding. We've been planning for 8 months now, and there's still so much to be done.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
It better be perfect. My wedding has to be perfect.
Dude. She looks like she's gonna cheat on her fiance at any minute.
So, Wei...
Hold on 1 second. Okay, sorry about that.
No. My life, it wouldn't be a good idea right now.
Your life is why it'd be good. You have to have someone you can be soft with too, Wei. It's very important. If you're hard all the time, one day you'll forget how to be soft. Then where will you be?
Just drive carefully.
If you say so.
I do say so. You are family now, Wei. I have to look out for you, just like Winston. After the wedding, I'm gonna find someone for you. Ah!
Jeez, what the fuck? Someone rear-ended me, and I was trying to drive carefully.
Winston's mother?
She's a handful, but, you know, her bark is worse than her bite.
That I know. How about her meat cleaver?
Ha! That's worse than her bark for sure. No, she used to scare me, but then one day, I was having a problem with Winston.
Fucking assholes.
He wasn't paying enough attention to me, too distracted with work. And Mrs. Chu gave him a big lecture in front of the whole gang. I thought she might use that cleaver on him. Ever since then, Winston's been an absolute doll. And even though she still yells a lot, I know her heart is in the right place.
You're lucky. And my mother never liked my girlfriends.
I guess it's hard for the moms.
Well, I mean, you know, I used to have a thing for blondes too, and that drove her crazy. Bad enough if I went out with a Chinese-American girl, but a whitey?
Well, it's good to know she was loyal to her people.
No, she's loyal to her prejudices, more like.
That too?
Racist Chinese mother. Yeah, pretty common among Asian mothers. I can speak from personal experience. I know my mother was not too keen on me dating white girls, but she knows that, whoops, she knows better now. It's just how they are. I should just kind of skip through traffic here. I don't think it's too big of a deal. This music's not bad. This is like some kind of love song.
Here we are.
Ah, so good to see you again. Welcome, welcome.
I'm here to finalize the details of the flower arrangement.
Yes, yes.
I'm just the driver.
I'm just gonna change back and then we'll be done. Actually, there is one other thing. Black orchids. This probably sounds silly, but it was my mother's favorite flower, and now that she's gone, I was thinking that I'd love to have a black orchid centerpiece.
I'm afraid that's impossible. There are none to be found in Hong Kong.
Really? Well, I thought they had some down at the Garden Temple.
Well, yes, but they're not for sale. The other day, the CEO of Old Boy Trading wanted one for his daughter. He told them they offered Temple $100,000. They still say no. It's incredible, no?
A black orchid at a wedding guarantees that the couple stays together for the rest of their lives. Oh well, Wei, come on. We can go now.
Like the little bow at the end.
Next, we need to pick up the wedding cake.
So you got a cake picked out.
Winston's in charge of that. He knows I'm very particular about cakes, but he promised I wouldn't be disappointed. I'm sure Winston will impress me. It's our wedding after all.
And your wedding has to be perfect.
Now you're getting it.
Come on.
So your mother took you to the States?
Yeah, she loved Hong Kong, but she wanted to give me and my sister a change of scenery.
Oh, were you being a bad little boy?
No, it was Mimi, my sister. Growing up in Old Prosperity, she started down a particular road and couldn't get off of it. My mother hoped that moving to San Francisco would shake her up, change who she hung out with,
Did it?
Yeah, for a while. But some habits die hard, Some don't die at all.
I'm sorry, Wei. Winston mentioned that she passed away. I didn't mean to bring it up. Hey!
It's okay, Peggy.
Isn't that a van from the wedding
it's
cake
good to
company?
remember where you came from and where you're going. Hang on.
What are you doing?
Yeah, the guy had the wrong address. Winston asked me to make sure the
Yeah.
cake was delivered.
He's so thoughtful.
I mean,
Wei, slow down!
Peggy, if we don't catch that van, you won't have your special cake at your wedding.
What? Faster, faster, go faster!
yeah, I mean, with these guys, would you really trust them around your woman? Not much trust there. That's like a disaster waiting to happen. Let's be honest. Why would anyone want to steal a wedding cake?
You're a gangster, do something! Get out there and get him!
Here, take the wheel.
Careful, don't hurt my cake!
Don't worry.
Get that van! Go, go! Oh my god! You can do it! Get closer! Jump! I'll follow you!
A little glitchy there, but it worked. I like the action sequences in the game. You know, the mechanic of stealing cars while it's moving, it's really cool. It's something to differentiate itself from GTA. You know, using GTA as a base, a model is fine. But they gotta like do original things too to differentiate itself.
Tell Winston I got the.
Wow, that's great. I'll take it right to him.
You know, that's how you go from being a
All done.
clone
Thank you, Wei.
to becoming,
Thank you.
you know, a
You
new
know,
genre.
It makes me think.
Uh-oh.
The wedding just won't be perfect without that orchid.
We're going to the temple, aren't we?
I knew you'd understand.
You ever been
Do you
to a
have any
Buddhist
family here
temple
at all?
before, Nilavani?
No, not anymore.
Well, you're wrong, Wei. You have family. You have us.
Thanks.
No, I mean it. I know Winston's work can be rough, but it makes us a family, too.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Man needs brothers, uncles, and sisters, too.
To help me with that soft side.
Don't laugh. It's very important. You know, I could probably set you up if you want. You're a good-looking man.
Thanks, but I'm not looking for anything serious right now. I wouldn't want it to reflect poorly on you.
Uh-huh. You're still playing around, huh? Well, let me know if you ever change your mind. I know some nice girls.
Okay, I'm trying not to bump into anything, even though I'm not sure if that's even necessary.
Wait here. I'll be right back.
Get a robe? Nah, can't imagine there are many in Kansas. Yeah. When I was a kid, you know, I went to Sri Lankan temples, but the Sri Lankan community, especially back then, was still, small, to say the least. So, by temple, it was just like a house, and they, like, put things inside of it to make it look like a temple. Eventually, they did build a Sri Lankan temple through donations and things. I've been to a Chinese Buddhist temple once. Like, we went on like a little field trip, I guess. It's not really a field trip, but like we went and met them, met up there.
When energy flows among flowers, we are all everywhere. I am here and not here. I love flowers.
Ah, brother. So true, so true.
Is there a difference between Sri Lankan Buddhism and Chinese Buddhism? Yes. You know, like, that's the interesting thing about religion.
You don't belong here.
What is belonging, brother, when we're all part of the same cosmos?
I guess failure is impossible.
You know, it's the same thing with Christianity or Judaism, for that matter. Judaism practiced, you know, in, let's say, Estonia is different than Judaism practiced in India. Christianity practiced in Sri Lanka is different than Christianity practiced in England, and, you know, even in America, you know, in different parts of the country, Christianity is practiced differently, you know, between Catholicism and Protestantism. Sometimes it's totally incomprehensible. You know, it's so different. Obviously, there's similarities, but it's
Hey,
very
who are you?
different.
Well, who is anyone when we are all each other, part of a single great organism that never dies?
Ah, brother. So true, so true.
To be quite honest, I actually don't know that much about Buddhism at all. When you're in the religion, you actually don't know much about the religion. That's one thing that I didn't realize when I was a kid. You actually learn a lot more about a religion when you're outside of it and learning about it. Because when you're just a kid and you're being raised inside of a religion,
You stop right now!
you you gotta beat up the monks. Damn. You know, you only know what they teach you, and they don't teach you much about the religion. They kind of just teach you how to behave, mostly. You know what I'm saying? That's why most Christians don't know shit about Christianity. Oh shit, I'm supposed to go to each of these things? I didn't know that. I've seen these things before, but I never went to them. I thought they were just for refilling your health. Great. Alright, I'll have to make sure I do that next time. These guys are good. Wow, these guys are very good. Oh yeah, of course. Obviously, the Buddhist monks in Sri Lanka, we call Buddhist monks sadhus. Obviously, they know about Buddhism. I mean, they have to. The non-sadhus that are still super religious. Maybe they know, but honestly, maybe not. And the reason is because, you know, there are hardcore Christians who don't know jack about Christianity
You
too.
got them? Oh, wait, thank you so much.
How can I say no? Hey, do you have any Winston's clothes in the back? I don't think these robes gonna make the right impression.
What do you think about this?
Yeah, sure. Cops, perfect.
Hiya. Winston is not gonna like this. Oh, thank you, Wei. Thank you. Oh my god.
I really hate religion.
It's my pleasure. And if you're gonna be my sister, the least I can do is help out with your wedding.
Your mother would be proud of you.
I hope so. Sometimes I wonder.
No, I can see it. Life isn't perfect, it never is. But you have a good heart.
It's a fascinating
Nope,
subject to
I know,
study.
women's intuition. It's the same with Winston. He talks tough, but underneath he's a very caring man. That's why I love him.
Thanks.
That's the secret. You do what you have to do, but you always remember your family. Remember the people who love you. Then you'll always be happy.
Oh yeah, I do. I'll tell you in a second.
Thanks for being so helpful, Wei. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
Sometimes this wedding thing stresses me out. There's so much to get right, and you only get one try.
Don't worry, Peggy. It's gonna be perfect.
Oh, it's so nice to find someone you can really rely on. I can see why Winston likes you.
Okay. So I guess there's two ways of like looking at it. So when I was growing up as a child and being taught about Buddhism, the one thing that really I had cognitive dissonance about were their teachings about nonviolence. So they constantly talked about nonviolence and basically espousing a pacifist ideology. But even as a kid, I recognized the impracticality of that, and especially the hypocrisy. So I knew, like back then, the Sri Lankan Civil War was going on. So I was well aware that they were engaging in violence.
Your money is good.
In contradiction of Buddhist teachings. And this bothered me.
You look just like Jimmy Woo with Vampire Assassin.
And I couldn't reconcile it.
The girls are gonna love
Because what they were teaching us about respecting all life, respecting other human beings and stuff like that was totally irreconcilable with the reality of what was going on in the world, in our home country. And the hypocrisy bothered me immensely. And that's why I was, from an early age, turned off to the notion of pacifism. I recognized it as impractical and eventually impossible. Nor did I see it as moral. At a certain point, I realized it was not moral either. Pacifism is not moral. And you could even interpret non-violent resistance as immoral in some ways too, because think about it. When you are engaging in a non-violent resistance, and you are opposed to inflicting pain and death on your enemies, you are not actually not inflicting pain and death. You are still doing it. You're just doing it to your own people. Because you're allowing the enemy to do that to your people. Because you're encouraging them to resist, but resist in a non-violent way, and not to retaliate when your own people are being beaten up and killed. Now, it turns out that there might be circumstances, and often are circumstances, in which a non-violent revolution are necessary. But that's only when you don't have the means to revolt violently. Okay, so in other words, like in America, for example, when civil rights leaders in this country, like Martin Luther King Jr., obviously, advocated and encouraged nonviolent civil disobedience, that was logical. And the reason was because black people if you were to say, okay, we want to revolt and do it violently, you could predict accurately that they probably would lose. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize about MLK. He wasn't necessarily a pacifist. He actually has said that he would have been in favor for using violence if he believed that he could win. The thing is he didn't believe that they could win. Because whites had control of the police, the military, they were the majority, they had all the power. If they revolted violently, they would have lost. And he knew it.
Stop. I can't let you walk by looking like that.
Um,
You wear that in public.
So that's one thing that I did not like.
If you must stand alone against a great enemy, you might as well look good doing it, hey, huh?
The other thing pertains mostly to me growing up in a Buddhist household, and what personally turned me off to it is that basically I have to describe like how I was raised as a Buddhist.
Come buy groceries.
My parents would drag us to the temple, and we had to listen to a sadhu or sadhus chant in a language that I could not understand for hours. For hours on end. And I hated it. We had to sit still. You're asking a child to sit still and be quiet while a sadhu chants for hours, and we're all just sitting there clasping our hands and closing our eyes for hours. And we sat on the floor. And I fucking hated it. And by the way, the language they're speaking was not Sinhalese. It's a language called Parle, which they say is the language that Buddha spoke when he was alive. So I guess that's what they spoke in North India, what's today Nepal. So Parle is an extinct language like Latin. No one speaks it anymore, so no one understands what it means. So even other Sri Lankans don't know. Like, I mean, maybe like if you study it, you know what it means, but no one knows what it means. It is so useless. That's time that can be spent on literally anything else, and you could be more productive or just enjoy life. You know, you're spending hours doing this. Playing a video game is more productive and fulfilling than doing that. And as a kid, I really resented being forced to do it, to the point where like I absolutely hated it. And I hated people who tried to force me to do it. And my parents quickly understood that they can't force me to do that shit. Like because they knew I absolutely hated it. It might have to do a little bit with the fact that we were American and they came from a very different culture. Like if I was raised in Sri Lanka, it might have been different. Only because like you gotta understand, like there's a big culture shock. Like me and my sister could not speak Sinhalese. We could understand it a little bit, but we couldn't speak it. But then when we go to temple, everyone's speaking Sinhalese, and they're just weird. They're different. You know, they're not American. They're acting like Sri Lankans. And I just never felt like I fit in with them. Even as a kid, like I fit in with the little kids. I liked playing with them, but I didn't like the culture because it was so different from American culture. And I wasn't Sri Lankan. I looked Sri Lankan, but I wasn't Sri Lankan. But if I grew up in Sri Lanka and I was you know, acclimated to that kind of culture, that was the only culture I knew, then I probably would have been more positive about Buddhism. You know, I would have actually because it's a social thing. That's the reason why people like religion. It's not because of doing all those boring things. It's because it's a place where everyone gets together and socializes. That's the difference. So if that social element is removed, there's really nothing left to it. Like, it's just bullshit. You only see the bullshit in it, and you don't see like the one good thing it might offer you, which is like a social aspect. Oh, I get to go here, meet some friends, get to talk to people, get to hang out. And growing up in these temple things, that was the only thing I liked. I liked going there and playing with my friends. I had like a couple of friends there as little kids. I had Keith, he was one of my friends, and there was this other kid, Naluka, and we would always run around and play together, and that I loved. I hated everything else. And growing up, as you grow up, you know, your friends, they move on and they stop doing those things, right? They stop going to temple and stuff like that. So it's like, I'm going to this temple and I'm not even doing anything anymore. Like, the one thing that I enjoyed doing, hanging out with my friends, they don't even go anymore. You know? Yeah, it's a big culture shock. It's so like, I didn't realize this when I was younger, but looking back, it's so hard growing up the way I did. You know, because you don't feel like you belong anywhere. You don't feel like you belong with Sri Lankan people. You don't feel like you belong with white people. It's like you're always in a constant state of feeling alienated and not feeling like you belong anywhere. So, like, I remember looking at photos of myself during a certain period of time, and it's like we were always unhappy, you know? It's like, usually you see photographs of, like, other people, other families, and they're always smiling and having fun. There was a period of time, like, where our family, me and my sister, our whole family, we just were never smiling. It's very sad when I think about it. One of these days I need to sit down with my parents and kind of explain to them. Because, like, when you live through it, it's one thing. But to systematically explain things... Because my parents, they couldn't understand. They were trying to do the best they could. But they didn't understand American culture. They didn't understand the problems me and my sister were going through. Because they came from a completely different country. You know? It's a whole different set of priorities. But anyway, I'm kind of getting off topic here. Those are my main objections to it. The uselessness of it, the impracticality of pacifism, because that's what it is. It is really about pacifism. And, like, there is an element of, like, a forgiveness element to it, and that's also, you know, unnuanced, and believe me, I'm more forgiving than your average Christian. I am a very forgiving person. Sometimes to my own detriment. But, like, what I don't like about these religions is how they unconditionally encourage forgiveness. And that is not a good way to live either. There's some people you should never forgive. You should never forgive a rapist, for example. Ever. That's one of those things that's totally unforgivable. They never discuss stuff like that. Like, I don't think any religion discusses the moral abhorrence of rape. They sure shit don't discuss pedophilia because, I'll be honest with you, that kind of thing was very common back then. You know? Yeah, that's the one good thing about them, and I will give them credit for it. My parents made a lot of mistakes in parenting me when I was growing up. But the one thing that they were, like, okay with was they were okay with, like, me not wanting to be Buddhist. And me not wanting to have anything to do with, like, these Buddhist things. Mostly because they knew they couldn't control me, you know, like... And also, we were having so many other problems. Like, the amount of problems is just insane. That's a whole different story.
Hey, buddy, you want in? I got best bud.
You know? Like, the thing is, though, is that the Buddhism and Christianity are so different because Buddhism doesn't hinge upon belief, you know? And that's kind of like one of the weird things that a lot of like Western people have trouble understanding is that, you know, in some ways maybe it might be kind of similar to Judaism. Like I can't imagine like a Jewish family, well maybe some do, but like maybe more so than like these hardcore Christian families. Like if you don't believe in God, it's not really all that, it's not like a deal breaker, so to speak, right? It's like in Buddhism, it is it doesn't hinge upon a belief in anything really. You don't have to believe in reincarnation to be a Buddhist. You don't have to believe in karma to be a Buddhist, but most, like, I mean, that's like one of those natural things anyway. Like, if you do bad shit, eventually it's gonna catch up to you, you know. But like, there's more esoteric beliefs related to karma and reincarnation. But like, again, like, it's not that important to actually being a Buddhist, you know. That's the thing. Like, whereas in Christianity, that religion hinges upon belief in God and belief in Jesus being the Messiah or the Savior or the Son of God or whatever other moronic bullshit they believe. And you need to believe in you're going to be saved by Jesus and all this other stupid shit. So without all of that, you know, without all that, then, you know, the religion kind of falls apart. Let's see if we're gonna win. Did I win? I won! Nice. Wow, that pays out well. Yeah, I just kind of found it. Like, I was like, because I'm talking about religion, so I'm just like trying to look around, trying to do things that don't involve plot. But anyway, that's why, like, religion is more interesting to study as a mythology. You know, kind of like how you study ancient Roman mythology or Greek mythology. We study it as something that people used to believe in, and it's interesting, but it's not something that we in our more enlightened age believe in, or would ever even think to believe in such nonsense. You know, so studying things like, you know, any religion, Buddhism, studying Judaism, studying Christianity, these things should be studied as mythology. Okay? They should never be practiced as if they are real, because they are not. They are total bullshit. It's fairy tale bullshit. It's interesting to learn about, and there's actually fascinating things in these religions, you know? Stuff like the Golem and Leviathan in Judaism. That's actually really cool. Like, I like monsters. Oh, there's a behemoth? A gigantic creature with a big-ass dick? And yes, Behemoth had a fucking big-ass dick. In the original Hebrew, Behemoth was described as having, like, a big dick and big balls. And they actually censored that description in the English translation of the Bible, of the Christian Bible. So apparently they have no problem censoring the inerrant word of God. There's a pretty good video that actually explains, like, all the censorship that was done to the original Hebrew Torah, or whatever the fuck it's called. So yeah, like they changed it so that, like, Behemoth, instead of his dick being huge, they changed it so his, like, tail was huge. You know? Yeah, they're very afraid of big dicks and big balls. Like once you learn more about like what these religions actually believe in, like discussing with a religious person, you could call them out on any of these like silly, ridiculous things. Like you could call them out on believing in Behemoth. You could ask them stuff like, do you believe that Behemoth existed, and do you believe that he had a big dick and balls? You know, you could mess with them like that, which I wholly encourage. Behemoth had a big dick and big balls, what can I say? Yeah. Do I know the history of how Buddhism even got to Sri Lanka? A little bit. So one of the interesting paradoxes, before I get into that, is that India is largely un-Buddhist, but Sri Lanka is. So it's believed... Before I start this, I want to make sure I get this out. So it's believed that in India at one time was predominantly Buddhist. So India was predominantly Buddhist at a time, and then invaders from India, like kings and so forth, invaded Sri Lanka and brought Buddhism with them. Right? So I'm going to speak vaguely because I don't know the names of the exact kings and stuff like that, and you know. So they invaded Sri Lanka and brought Buddhism with them. Then afterwards, India gradually became Buddhized. That's not the right word, but who cares? You get what I'm saying. Buddhism declined in India. This is believed to have occurred because of Islamic invasions, which suppressed Buddhism in India. Elements of Buddhism were that remained in India largely merged with Hinduism. And likewise, you know, Buddhism and Hinduism are very closely related. So in India, in Hinduism, they actually believe Buddha, which is Siddhartha Gautama, is one of the avatars of Vishnu. So that's what is now commonly believed, that Buddhism in India largely merged with Hinduism or was eradicated by Islamic invaders. So yeah, long story short, yeah, they basically just killed people. Muslim people came to India and started killing people and forced them to convert to Islam. However, in Sri Lanka, Buddhism was retained because this period of Islamic invasions happened after the Buddhist kings and invaders already went to Sri Lanka, whereas Muslim invaders never went to Sri Lanka. Islam was introduced to Sri Lanka afterwards, probably during the British colonial period, because they were bringing workers over from India who were Hindu and Muslim afterwards. So like the vast majority of Hindus in Sri Lanka are Tamil people. Those people were brought over by the British to work tea fields. You know, and also there was probably a subversive element involved where they wanted to create a divide and conquer kind of thing. So they wanted Sri Lankan people to fight amongst themselves and kill each other and displace any resentment and anger that they may have felt towards them to the Tamil people or to the Sinhalese people. Divide and conquer is the modus operandi of all European colonialists. The Belgians did it in Rwanda, where they would rule by proxy. So they would put the Tutsi and the Hutu pitted against each other. They would rule the Hutu via proxy using Tutsi people. And that's probably what the British did too. You know, they probably would try to rule by proxy so that, you know, any mistreatment directed at Sinhalese people would be done via using Tamil people. You know, and that's what bred resentment and hostility, you know. Right. Oldest trick in the book. Oldest trick in the book. Another street race? Okay. So yeah, it's fascinating thing to study. You know, there might be some documentaries on YouTube. I recommend watching them because like I'm giving you kind of like the layman explanation of it. Obviously, there's a lot of details that are worth discussing, worth learning about, that are probably provided better with some documentaries. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Got some upgrades. I wish it would go right to the upgrades. Like that, instead of like just being stuck on the last one I was at. Like to learn more about Indian history in general, like India pre-British colonialism would be interesting to know. Yeah, it's very interesting, very fascinating. There's some videos on YouTube that I can find for you. I saw something about Buddhism before. Might be kind of interesting to watch. I know there's like a whole bunch of videos I was meaning to send you, but I keep forgetting. I'll look for some stuff and send it to you after the stream. Let's do this one.
Hey, wait. I work for Trent at the chop shop. We noticed you still don't have your own ride. Come by any time if you want to buy a car.
Oh yeah? How much will that cost me?
Don't worry. We'll give you a good deal. Send on ye never pay full price.
I wonder if my face is high enough. Let's check out the deals. Where is it? There's one. Probably some good text written from those periods that you could learn a lot from, but I don't know the names of any of them yet. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Like we have some Buddhist books. One of my Buddhist books, I gave it to my ex-girlfriend and she never gave it back. So fucking annoying. I do have one left though. The thing is, like, you gotta remember that the reason there's not a lot of texts from those times because they didn't have paper. Like, it's one of those things that we take for granted, that paper is actually kind of a relatively new invention. They didn't have a lot of paper back then. Obviously, they had written language. I just don't know how it was actually recorded. Like, I don't know if they had papyrus or something else. But yeah, Buddhism's like a oral tradition, unlike, you know, like Christianity or Judaism, which has like a Bible or a Talmud or whatever you call it. Like, there is no such book in for Buddhism. In Hinduism does have a book. I think it's called the Bhagavad Gita. So, but that's Hinduism. So if you want to learn about Hinduism, you could read the Bhagavad Gita. But, you know, again, that's mostly gonna, like, probably go into, like, the mythology of Hinduism and stuff like that. Rather than, like, any kind of historical account. I mean, there's obviously some history in all that stuff. But they do have recorded history. I just don't know the extent to which it was documented and still is retained all this time. Makes you, like, wonder just how much history is actually lost to time. You know, because in order for history to be preserved, it has to be recorded. Kind of a scary thought when you think about it. How much history is lost. Lost to time. I am pretty much convinced that the current inhabitants of Sri Lanka and India are not the original inhabitants of those countries. If you look at the islands in the Indian Ocean and look at the native inhabitants of those islands, like the Sentinelese Islands, and look at the Sentinelese people, they look like they're black. They look like black people. And if I were to guess, those are probably the original inhabitants of Sri Lanka and India. But they're all gone now. So that history, you don't know. That is lost to time. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. How could I forget? From medieval Europe, there is several chronicles written by priests and whatnot that you can read to learn from their perspective, at least, what was going on in the time. So I'm wondering, there should be similar things in India. Yeah, probably like the Bhagavad Gita would be the closest thing. There might be other things too. I'll admit I don't really know that much about it. Fortunately, in the West, not too many people give a fuck about India, so most stuff about India is done actually by the British. Those fucks. Americans don't give a fuck about India, I'm afraid to say. Ask any American if they give a fuck about India. The answer is always, hell no. Like, in America, like, East Asia is definitely the more popular or more interesting foreign country. You know, a lot of that has to do with the popularity of kung fu movies during the 70s, Bruce Lee, of course. You know, India never got that. India never got, like, a Bruce Lee. You know, India never became super popular or enticing to Westerners. You know, like, the Bruce Lee phenomena was huge. You know, we got Enter the Dragon, but then there was, like, so many other copycat movies, and then you had the ninja craze in the 80s. So there's a lot of fascination with East Asia, but never with South Asia. They didn't give a fuck. They just always saw it as like a dirty, inferior country, you know, poor country, something that they don't give a fuck about, and that they turn their nose to, you know, seeing it as inferior and, oh, we're just better. You know, similar with Africa, but I would say even more so, because like in America there's lots of black people at least, but there's not a lot of Indian people at all, so they don't give a fuck. Yeah, probably. Like, I would be surprised. I mean, it's interesting you say India. Like, it doesn't surprise me that most Americans can't find Sri Lanka on a map. Of course not, right? I've never even heard of it. But if they couldn't find India on a map, like, wow. Like, talk about Markan stupidity. Fucking morons. Like, okay, you don't know where Sri Lanka is? I kind of expect that. But if you don't know where India is, then someone needs to smack the shit out of you. Yeah, they love Japan the most. See, that's the other thing, like anime. There's a lot of soft power coming from Japan.
Stuck in traffic. I'll get there as soon as possible.
Don't worry, there's still time.
Don't start without me.
You know, K-pop is really huge in America now too. K-pop is getting bigger, so like they're, you know, all these East Asian countries are making tremendous progress in exerting soft power, but India's not. That's the problem, you know, with Indian entertainment, is that it doesn't appeal to anyone outside of India. You know, and they need to really work on that. You know, start making art, movies, entertainment, all this other art stuff that actually is good and appeals to the West. Oh yeah, the dumbasses.
Wait, I'm so happy you can make it.
Congratulations. Peggy, you look stunning.
Thanks, Wei.
You both must be very happy.
Yes.
The best day of your life. So they say. You know what? They're right.
If you say so.
Oh, Uncle Paul, welcome.
Congratulations.
My guest of honor.
I'm happy to be here. It's nice to see someone who wants to be a good family man. Not enough of that nowadays.
Hi.
You look absolutely lovely, my dear.
Thank you.
Almost as lovely as your mother-in-law. Oh, and Mrs. Chu, I expect the food to be...
Wait.
fantastic.
I got a case of the chairman's favorite wine in my car. I forgot to bring it in. Do you mind grabbing in and making sure they know it's for him? I'm gonna make sure he gets inside, okay?
Yeah, sure thing, Winston. You gotta enjoy your day, okay? Where do you park?
Right through there. I'm going. Just bring it into the kitchen. Shit!
Fuck! Jackie, you there?
Holy shit, did you see that?
Shit's going down.
There's no way we're getting in through here.
I'll find a way inside.
I'll go get help.
Can I climb up this thing?
Stay down, bitch!
哇，一定好痛喎！單手搞掂你啊！
Right in their fucking face. Push, trying. Why? Oh, pretty fancy if I do say so. Damn it. Those guys flanked me. Oh, really? I did not hear that. What are they gonna do about all these fucking hicks that are committing hate crimes against Asians? Nothing? There needs to be extra protection made for them. They're not doing enough. I also read a statistic that there are actually Moroccan idiots that think China needs to pay reparations to America. How about white people pay reparations to black people? Those fucking assholes. The same people who want reparations from China are the ones who oppose reparations for black people. Yeah. Pay reparations. That's fucking funny. I bet Mitch McConnell wants reparations from China, even though his family owns slaves. Yeah, how about you pay reparations first? I'm so sick and tired of these fucking racists. These racist pieces of shit. That's why, you know, Chertka accused me of being obsessed with racism. I'm not obsessed with racism. You are. White people are obsessed with racism because they're the ones who keep doing it. Fuck. Yeah, the whole Chertka thing of, and he's not the only one. There's like a whole army of Chertka clones who accuse anyone who points out racism of being obsessed with racism. That's a tactic that they use to discourage people from pointing out racism that they themselves perpetuate. They want to have the privilege of being racist without challenge. They want that back because they used to have it. So that's their way of doing it. That's their tactic of trying to get that privilege back. And China Uncensored are a bunch of fucking cowards. They refuse to calling the COVID-19 the Chinese virus racist because they want to kowtow to racists. They want to kowtow to white people, basically. And make believe that nothing is ever racist. They're phonies. I mean, it makes sense when you think about it, why they would never call these people racist for calling it the Chinese virus, because they're part of religion that espouses racism. So of course they would never call it racist. Got it. Damn.
Winston!
They're all shut up.
Shit. Oh God. Peggy. Wait. Get Peggy out of here. She doesn't deserve this. Winston. Winston. Fuck. Shit. Peggy.
The boys! I need them here now!
Shoot these guys on the balcony. Need greater accuracy. They're homophobic too? I didn't know they were homophobic, but that doesn't surprise me. So many religions are. They receive funding from the US government. They're pro-Trump. I didn't know they were pro-Trump. I knew they were racist. They're against interracial marriage. You think that guy Chappell, whatever the fuck his name is, ever talks about how Falun Gong is inherently racist? Think he would ever mention that? A bumper. Run those Shen Yun dance schools. Have you ever seen those advertised? No, I'm not familiar with that. What is that? Got 'em all. Pro-Trump paper? Why the fuck are they pro-Trump? Pro-Drump, I mean. Kill all these guys. I see. You know, they're preying upon Mark in ignorance because no one's ever heard of that in the West.
Can you walk?
They don't know any better. For the longest time, I didn't know what it was.
What happened to Winston?
Okay, come on. We gotta get you out of here. Uncle Paul, you're hurt.
It's nothing but a little scratch.
Look, sort of. We gotta get you to a hospital.
Okay, thank you. I'll check it out. Got some D-bags coming up here.
This must pay. A wedding is a sacred thing.
This is kind of reminiscent. This also happened in GTA 4, remember? Weddings in GTA style games is always a disaster.
All right. Don't worry.
Absolutely.
Be careful, Way. Whoever did this.
These pistols are not too accurate. Maybe I can increase my accuracy later. Gotta be careful with these D-bags, you can catch on fire. He's like, ah, you're burning me! Jeez. Come on, we made it right all the way there. Let's blow these fuckers up. many bullets can this guy take?
My uncle, he's hurt. We need a doctor, now!
What is this? What's going on here?
My boy, maybe you'll want to leave before our friends, the police, show up.
Are you gonna take care of my uncle? And if anything happens to him, I'm holding
Hello,
you
police?
personally responsible.
Oh, thank God.
Be clear.
Okay, okay.
Got some new clothes. I like my outfit.
Where have you been?
Stuck in traffic. It's Hong Kong.
Fuck, Raymond. You think showing up for these things is easy for me?
I know you've been through a lot, Wei. More than we have any right to ask. Now the wedding.
It was a massacre, Raymond. A massacre. Winston was a red pole, sure. But his wife, they fucking gunned down his wife on her wedding day.
We knew you would become personally attached, Wei. It's inevitable in an operation like this. And seeing something like that would be hard. Hard for anyone.
It's war now.
No, it's not. You're a cop, all right? Your job is to enforce the law. You can't remember that? I'll pull you out right now.
Pull me out?
Your job was to get close to Winston. Now, that's not much of a strategy anymore.
Get close to? Open your eyes, Raymond. I am Winston now. With him gone, I'll be taking his place. You want the chairman? I report to him now. You want the Red Poles? I'm one of them.
That's what worries me, Wei. You're one of them.
You want to give up the best undercover HKPD has ever had? Your best shot taking down the Sun On Yi? Exactly. We done?
Yeah, we're done.
Anything happens to me, you look after my people, okay?
I like the story.
Get Peggy out of here. Winston! He doesn't.
Story's very good. I like his internal struggle between the two. I kind of wish there were multiple endings, though. I mean, I feel railroaded if there aren't multiple endings. There should be, you know?
Steady now.
He's back to the slums. Okay, let's see. How long have we been streaming for? Okay, let's do like 1 or 2 more missions and then we'll take a break.
Again? How many times I tell you? You can't rush that shit down the toilet. Don't disrespect your elders.
The wedding massacre.
I know.
What, can I help you?
Still have the same
I
cars.
used to drive one of those. Then I lost my job and...
This is real FM.
Can I get like a new car finally? I want a new car.
I got this track called Protagonist from Felt, followed by bands of Black Rios Back to the Project, featuring Flame Killer and G.O.D.
Most Evil Act? When we sold out, I forgot his name. Remember in Dragon Age? When we betrayed our comrade, our brother in arms? That I actually genuinely felt like bad for, like in real life. I felt so bad for doing it. Like we went through so much and then we betrayed him and allowed him to get executed. Like immediately as soon as you asked, like I knew that was it. I felt so bad. What was his name again? Because like he was such a good loyal follower.
Hey, wait! Check out
I still feel bad about it, even though he's not real. Let's get A lot of these things are really expensive, but let's go right for the most expensive thing that they have. Oh wait, let me select the paint job. Select paint job.
Ah, you crash this one? Come see me again. I get you another one less than 24 hours.
Alistair, yeah. Yeah, this seems fine. It's kind of hard to tell when it's dark out. Let's do this one. Speaking of Dragon Age, we gotta do Dragon Age 2 one day. When should we do Dragon Age 2? We gotta do Dragon Age 2, and then maybe do Dragon Age 3 one day. Yeah. Always wanted to play it. I gotta sneeze, hold on. Okay. I remembered, like, sometimes I can feel the sneeze coming, and I can take proper precaution against sneezing into the microphone. This game is excellent, by the way. I'm loving this game. We'll beat the game and then we'll do a review for it. Speaking of reviews, I still need to export my review of Nier Automata. Haven't done that yet. Haven't exported anything yet. Whoops. There's a whole bunch of indie games I want to play too. I haven't been able to play indie games in a while now. And there's so many. I still haven't played Transistor. It's probably the next indie game I want to play. Hey, we got a mission here. Let's do it. Whenever I see these missions, wow, you stupid fucking asshole. Whenever I see these missions, I always want to do them. Can I get like a drink here to refill my health? Yes, I can. There we go. Visit apothecaries, massage parlors, and convenience stores to get different buffs. $30, yeah. We must be living in the dystopia. How do I get up there? It looks like it's up there, but I don't know how to get up there. I don't see any stairs or anything. Like, there's a guy that is up there. but I don't know how to get there. What about this thing? Nope.
Hello? Yeah, speaking. Oh, is he on sale?
買10送2喎，留翻份冷凍咯。
Hold on. You think I have to go from the other side? But there's nothing on the other side. I don't see any way of getting up there. It's like this person's like in an apartment or something. Or they're in a back alley actually. But how do I get to the back alley then? Like it's saying there's like a passageway through here. Let's try go up there real quick. If I can't find it, I'll give it up. Is there a way to get behind? I'm gonna try to go this way. Like you might have to go all the way over here. I don't know. This doesn't seem right. Alright, fuck it. I don't know how to get up there. It's like... It's weird. I don't get it. Oh well. There's another one over there, but we'll do the main mission. We'll do some side missions when we get back. By the way, how was the lag so far? Lag is okay? And how's the stream quality?
Hot's trying to kill me. He's crazy. He's...
Shit.
Great. Stream quality works. Is it worse than before? Noticeably worse? Hold on. It's a bit blurred. Yeah. Wish I could do something about it. Probably need to get on top of this thing. Yeah. I do care a lot about the stream quality. I wish it could be better. When I go to the other place, then we can increase the stream quality. Still am not in the middle.
You have money. Buy food on a stick.
Definitely one thing this has over Watch Dogs is this does not have any technical issues at all. Never had any bugs, nothing. Come on. Sometime this decade. Wow. Looks like we just gotta go north from here and we should be able to get it finally. Got it.
Hello? Hello? Is anyone there?
What? Hello? Hello?
Can you tell me where you are?
He's dead. Ace is dead.
Look, I'm coming to get you, okay?
He ran us over in a Bachman.
Okay, look, I'm trying to find you. Hang on. You gotta keep talking. Stay on the line, okay?
He's got crushed.
What road were you on? Can you hear me?
I'm just standing here. My feet are wet. Ace is dead.
Are you sure? Does he need an ambulance?
He's gone. He's gone.
Was it Hotshot? Are you there? Don't hang up. Fucking hell.
I don't know how to do this. Hold on. Come on. What the fuck?
Where's
Pl-
this guy?
Please don't tell me I have to do all this shit again. Are you fucking kidding me?
He's crazy.
Shit.
Come on, motherfucker. Ugh, I have to do all this shit again. I was trying to figure out how the fuck to do it. That's such bullshit. I'm still trying to figure out, like, what the hell I'm supposed to do. Wait, we just threw out our girlfriend. That's our girlfriend.
Hello? Hello? Is anyone there?
What? Hello? Hello?
Can you tell me where you are?
What? He's dead. Ace is dead.
Look, I'm coming to get you, okay?
He ran us over in a Bachman.
Okay, look, I'm trying to find you. Hang on. You gotta keep talking. Stay on the line, okay?
He's got crushed.
What road were you on? Can you hear me?
I'm just standing here. My feet are wet. Ace is dead.
Are you sure? Does he need an
I don't know how this works.
Gone. He's gone.
Was it Hotshot? Are you there? Don't hang up. Fucking hell.
I don't know how to fucking do it. I'm trying to figure it out. You need to give me more time, you motherfuckers. I don't really get it.
Where's this guy?
Hotshot's trying to kill me. He's crazy.
Shit.
Like, these little mini-game things, they don't give any explanation, so I'm trying to figure out what it's supposed to do.
Hello? Hello? Is anyone there?
What? Hello? Hello?
Can you tell me where you are?
What? He's dead. Ace is dead.
Look, I'm coming to get you, okay?
He ran us over in a Bachman.
Okay, look, I'm trying to find you. Hang on. You gotta keep talking. Stay on the line, okay?
He's got crushed.
What road were you on? Can you hear me?
I'm just standing here. My feet are wet. Ace is dead.
Are you sure? Does he need an ambulance?
He's gone.
Got
Don't
it.
hang up. Fucking hell.
Finally figured it out. They didn't give me much time to do it though. Let's see. Getting close. Looks like they're off the bridge though.
I tried to help him now, but he's not breathing. There's blood everywhere. We were in front. Ace was winning, girl. At least he thought he was winning. Oh, Hassan was setting us up. He got alongside the back of the car, ran us into the railing, pushed us up against it. We flipped over it. We were Ace, yes.
You'll be all right. Hang in there.
Where the hell do we go?
Yes.
Inspector, Hotshot killed Ace.
Damn it, wait, we were supposed to catch them in the act.
Yeah, well, they acted too fast. I have an eyewitness statement and all the evidence you need to get this bag of shit off the streets.
I'll type out a warrant.
Don't bother, I have a better idea. I'll challenge him to a race, and once we're in it, I'll lead him right to you.
All right, but wait. I want him alive.
Pretty fast. These guys don't waste any time. Find a fast car. That looks kind of fast. This one looks pretty good. Nintendo fan! What's up, dude? We're gonna be closing up a little soon, but we're just gonna be taking a break. We'll be back after I eat, but we're still just gonna complete this mission. And then we're gonna take a little break, and then we'll be back in like an hour or so. What's new with you, Nintendo? Nintendo, did you see I forgot what the hell it's even called. It's not a moblin. I used to think it was a moblin, but it's actually not. I made a sculpture. I posted it on my Discord. Did you see it? There weren't any quality options. Yeah. I'm streaming from a slow internet connection at the moment. so I can't stream at really high quality, but streaming the best I can. Right now the quality's kind of lowish, but at least it's smooth.
Sucker!
Fucker.
It's not cheating if you win! You know it's dangerous to drive and talk, right?
You suck! You know that? Hey, wait! You think you're good? Ace thought he was good too. They find all the pieces of him yet?
Ah, shit. I think I'm not really supposed to catch up to him because there aren't any posts anyway, so we're just supposed to chase him. There are no like racing things, so I don't even know where to go even if we were racing. Oh really? Well luckily, yeah, I lowered the stream quality, so shouldn't be a problem now. This guy's going everywhere. Aberdeen. I seem to remember that city when I was playing Shenmue 2. We should stream Shenmue one day. We could stream Shenmue 1.
I thought this was supposed to be a race!
Get back here, you fucker. He's not going anywhere. Where's he gonna go? Damn it. Oops. Killed some of my allies. Oh well. Where is he? Oh, he's up there. He's getting away. Finally.
See you later, hotshot. Hey, say hi to the police for me.
This thing's gonna blow up. Oh, thank you, Nintendo fan. Yeah, Boko Goblin. I keep forgetting the name of it. Used to think it's a Moblin. Maybe I might do a Moblin later. Holy shit! I think we lost him. Yeah.
We picked Hotshot up. Little punk never shuts up. You should have seen the look on his face when we charged him with murder. He'll get 20 years at least. Nobody pays much attention to those guys, but they kill or injure dozens of people a year. Impossible to say how many lives you saved, but you really did a job on this one, Officer Shen.
Nice. Okay. Looking good. Alright, I think we can take a break here. So, we'll just take a little break, maybe an hour, and we'll stream some more. Ah! That's me stretching. Alright, see you guys in an hour, hopefully.